You're listening to the Sci-Fi Diner Podcast, serving the latest news in sci-fi multimedia. And now, your hosts, Scott, Miles, and Em. Your table is ready.
Live long and prosper.
This is the captain. We have a little problem with our entry sequence, so we may experience some slight turbulence and then explode.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Walter, put the cow away, would you?
What is this place?
It's a freak show.
Well, welcome to the Sci-Fi Diner Podcast. It is episode 211. I'm one of your hosts, Scott Herzog.
And good evening, I'm Miles P. McLaughlin.
And tonight, we are bringing you a very special interview that we did with who, Miles?
We did it with the folks, so some of the people making it, and the cast members of Star Trek Equinox, so we had a nice conversation with them just a little while ago.
Oh, it was great. It goes on record, Miles, as being the first time we had 7 people on a Skype call.
The Skype gods were patient with us.
They were. We had a little bit of trouble getting Samantha Lockwood on, but Samantha Lockwood, we finally got her on. We had Cindy on from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and many other people, cast members that I'm not mentioning here that you're going to hear us talk to on the show.
But they have a very strong pedigree of talent in this production. John Savage, he is reprising his role as Captain Rudy Ransom from the Star Trek Voyager episode Equinox Part 1 and 2. They managed to convince Mr. Gary Lockwood, somebody we talked to a couple years back. He's reprising his role as Gary Mitchell. And we talked Cindy Pickett. I mean, she has a very impressive resume. Maybe most of us know her as playing the mom in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So
right.
I think this is going to be a fantastic production. Yeah,
if they can get the funding, which I encourage you to go support them, and you'll hear how to do that in the interview that we do. You'll hear how to do that in the interview that we do with them. I would encourage you to check them out. It sounds like it's going to be a great time, great fun, and it was certainly great fun talking to them.
Absolutely.
Well, I believe that's about it, Miles. Let's not hold them up any longer. Let's go ahead into the interview, and let's let them hear and sink their teeth into Star Trek Equinox, A Night of Time. When the interview's over, we're going to close the diner down for tonight, and we'll reopen it next week, and we'll see you then.
See you then. We who love Star Trek know that there are times many loose ends are left at the end of a great episode. Sometimes those loose ends will get addressed, and we get an exciting sequel to that great episode. However, many times those loose ends are left alone and never get seen again, and it's left to our imagination to guess what happened to that pivotal character in that episode. Did the character really die? We didn't see him actually get killed. We're kind of led to believe they did, but it's kind of ambiguous. Well, a new independent Star Trek fan effort is going to explore what happened to 2 great characters from Star Trek. Gary Mitchell, played by and reprising his role as Mr. Gary Lockwood, and Captain Rudy Ransom, played, and he is also reprising his role, played by Mr. John Savage. We were led to believe they died, but did they? It is my pleasure to introduce and talk with some of the fine folks of Star Trek Equinox, The Night of Time. The filmmaker, Mr. Cameron Burton, the production manager, Mr. Jason Genser, and we have some of the cast as well. We have Ms. Cindy Pickett, Ms. Samantha Lockwood, daughter of Mr. Gary Lockwood, Mr. Quintos McDonald, and Mr. Paris Mayhew. Welcome, and thank you for taking time to talk with us on the Sci-Fi Diner podcast.
Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah, no. It's awesome to have you guys on, and I think this goes on record for being our largest Skype call ever in our interview.
Oh, definitely,
yeah,
yes.
So it's great, and Jason, we really appreciate you putting this all together. So
No problem.
Yeah. All right. Cameron, why don't we start out with you? This is really a 2-part question. I'll start with the first part here. What kind of inspired you to write and produce Star Trek Equinox, The Night of Time?
Well, it was almost an accident, you might say.
I was working with Hidden Frontier Productions, producing an audio series telling the backstory of the starship Equinox. You know, what happened to them in the Delta Quadrant, what led up to the Voyager episodes. And man who's actually behind this whole project, Eric Ninehouse, he was preparing to put this project together and found me through the audio series Facebook page. And we talked for a while, and then he said to me, "You really seem to have a good grasp on Rudy Ransom. How would you like to write the script for this thing?" And, well, naturally, I jumped at the opportunity. I mean, it's an amazing opportunity. I mean, how many fanboys get that chance? Seriously.
Absolutely.
You know, and so he gave me a very, very rough concept that John Savage had worked out. And I built the script around that. And over the next 3 days or so, sleep became a distant memory because I just had it so sharp inside my head that I did not want to sleep or risk losing anything that I could see inside my mind. So, yeah, I wrote the basic script in 3 days, and it's just been snowballing from there.
Wow. Now, was there a lot of revision you did to the script after that, or is it basically the way that you imagined?
A little bit, but for the most part, it's still basically the same story.
So,
but I did cut some of the fat out, though.
No, yeah.
So we talked about Captain Ramsey, but we're bringing Captain Ramsey and Gary Mitchell together from the episode for the second original series pilot, Where No Man Has Gone Before. What inspired you to bring Gary Mitchell into this mix?
That was another part of the project that Eric Ninehouse wanted to do, was bring back Gary Mitchell, because he and Gary are apparently very long time friends. And after Gary read the script, he decided to do the project, as I understand it. But it was basically Eric's idea to involve Gary Mitchell in this project, but figuring out how to bring this character back when he was apparently killed, that was a challenge, but it was a fun one.
Can I interject? It's Cindy Pickett here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Eric Ninehouse told me that Gary Lockwood actually came out of retirement to do this. So
that is true.
It's a personal thing for him to be doing this. He had retired from acting, so I thought that was pretty cool.
I think it's very cool too, Cindy. I'm just totally thrilled to be able to work with some of the best guest star actors that Star Trek ever had, and to actually speak with them and with you and Samantha, and it's a thrill for a regular Trek fanboy like me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ditto here from New Jersey.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We had a chance to meet Gary and sit down and interview him at a shore leave convention a few years ago.
Right.
So it was a pleasure chatting with him then about his work in Star Trek. So I'm glad to see that he's out of retirement and working with you guys. That's for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think that makes all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, without giving spoilers, this is obviously this crossover episode between the TNG era and the TOS era. Where's the focus of this episode going to lie for people that are, fans of these series?
What do you mean by the focus?
Well, I guess where's the? I guess maybe.
Will we see? I'm assuming we're going to see some of it take place in Ramsey's time, but is it going to be mostly in the TOS era, and maybe just harken back to the TNG era, or 50-50, or
part of it does take place during Rudy Ransom's time, but the bulk of the focus, you might call, as you call it, is during the TOS era.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
But part of the script is set in the 24th century.
Mm.
There's still a lot of fans of original series, so that'll make them happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Jason, we'd like to talk with you a little bit now. Just 2 words: production manager. All right. It's a role that you're putting on many hats as you're trying to organize this thing. Can you describe how your role's functioning in this production?
Well, I will confess that my background is in IT, not as much as in the Hollywood genre, and as a result, or the entertainment business even in general. So as a result, I'm very new to this role. But what I found is that I am definitely wearing multiple hats, doing things from coordinating group interviews like this one to working on facilitating some of the back-end production aspects, such as I'm working with one of the gentlemen doing visual effects to ensure that we kind of remain on track to get the ships created that we need for the production, so once we get to that stage where we'd be using those visual effects, that we have all the pieces in place. What I'm trying to do is ensure that the production remains on track, make sure that whatever special effects that we can work with and that we're creating offline before we actually go into full production mode, just to ensure that those pieces get completed so that they're ready once we need them. But also just trying to keep the production on track in general, so that we continue to move forward, particularly with our fundraising efforts at this point, which is a big piece that we need to get into place. Definitely wearing a lot of hats and learning a lot about the entertainment business that I was never exposed to before, purely as a fanboy or as just even a moviegoer in general. And that's been very interesting.
And also looking at your IMDb page, it shows you're somebody who supports a lot of the great independent film efforts that are out there. What is it about Star Trek and the other independent films out there that just sort of, what is it about them that you go out of your way to support?
I'm fascinated that there are folks who are so inspired by Star Trek around the country and even around the world, that they have created their own Star Trek episodes or Star Trek spin-off series, or in audio spin-offs such as what was Hidden Frontiers and what the Star Trek Equinox project was originally going to be, to what it is now, an actual attempt to create an actual film, or at least a standalone episode. And to me, that is amazing that folks put their time and effort into, and it's not anything that it may become something more than it is, or it may just remain whatever it becomes. And I find it amazing that folks are so inspired that this is how they're focusing their efforts. And then when you watch some of these fan episodes and fan films that have been created, some of them are of the same caliber as what you get from Hollywood. And I sit there and I go like, that is amazing. And so I try to do what little I can to help produce each of these efforts and help get them moving forward. And I find it fascinating and very inspiring.
And you're right. Some of the ones that have been put out are just absolutely phenomenally done. So, no doubt. Well, we're fortunate not just to be talking with the people that are kind of making this thing and pushing it forward, but we have some of the cast with us tonight, as we kind of introduced a little bit earlier, and we had the pleasure to meet them. I guess the question that I have as we start out here, and maybe we can just kind of go around and kind of share this, but were any of you Star Trek fans before you came on board to do Star Trek Equinox? Quintus, let's start with you.
I must admit, I was never a Star Trek fan, but I did go to see the one that came out in 3D. I think it was a year or two ago, and I really, really enjoyed it. I grew up in New Jersey, and years ago when Star Trek would come on, the Honeymooners would be on also, in the Twilight Zone. So I was a Twilight Zone Honeymooners person. But that last movie, the 3D movie, really did intrigue me. I must admit, I've not gone to YouTube or anything and started looking at old episodes, but when Eric reached out to me and asked me if I'd be willing to work with him in this film, He didn't even say what it was. He just said, "Would you be willing to work with me in a film?" And I told him, "Yeah, whatever it is, Eric and I go way back to high school." So told him, "Yeah, I'll support what you're doing." And here we are. He told me that it was a fan film from Star Trek. I thought it was pretty cool since seeing the 3D movie, and I was really excited when I saw it. And so I'm excited to meet the rest of the cast in person to do this film. I've done theater all my life, and so this is another opportunity for me to do a craft that I enjoy doing, and to be a part of something that's really special in the fact that it's a fan film. So I'm excited. Good.
Cindy, how about you? How'd you get on board with this? Are you a Star Trek fan?
I'm not I love, I'm not a TV, I'm really not a TV watcher necessarily, but I would always love watching Star Trek, but I was not a devotee, but Brent Spiner is my oldest friend who played Data. And in fact, when he called me, when he auditioned for the job and they wanted him to do it, and he called me and he said, "Should I do this?" And I said, "Are you working a lot right now?" And he actually, I kind of feel like I'm responsible for him taking the job of Data. And of course, he always tried to get me on the show because Jonathan Frakes is also a friend from New York. We were all friends in New York. And Renee Bourgeois was a friend, and it was just, but I had my own 2 series at the time, and I was doing a lot of other work, so I never did the show. But Eric is actually a friend from a lot of these autograph shows we go on. I go for Ferris Bueller, obviously, and I've done a lot of things, and I always hang around Brent and Jonathan and all those guys. And Eric just called me a couple of months ago, I guess. And he said, "You know what, would you be in? I'm offering you a role, and it's Star Trek." And he told me as much as he could about it. And I just said, absolutely, because it's something I always actually wanted to be a part of. So here I am.
There you are. In Paris, how about you?
Well, unlike everybody else, I'm a lifelong enthusiast, which got even much deeper about 10 years ago when I began reading the novels, and I've read at least 500 of them.
Oh, my word.
Multiple times. And I feel almost so close to the characters that I feel like I know them better than I know my own friends. So I think I'm primed and ready for this project.
Yeah, you definitely are.
Definitely.
Yeah. And Samantha, how about you? How did you get into this project? I mean, what was your background with Star Trek?
My background with Star Trek is that I used to walk in when my neighbors were watching it, and then I'd walk back out because I had no idea what was going on, and I was like 5 years old.
Right.
So for me, I mean, my connection to Star Trek is really like the new movies that are coming out, the big movies. I've seen those. I love them. I have seen episodes, of course. I mean, how could I not? I couldn't have lived this long without seeing a couple episodes. But, now I see it, and I think my generation is a little bit spoiled, to be honest, because what was like really an amazing, cool, new sci-fi thing and like had all these awesome special effects, like even for that generation, I can't say they were awesome, but I have to say for my generation, now looking back, we were kind of spoiled, for us, it just looks like watching dinosaur type,
right.
filmmaking. So, I don't know. For me, I've never been emotionally connected with Star Trek beyond, well, my dad was in it and he helped get this like cool franchise off the ground by doing a pilot, and he was a star at the time. So, I was always very like happy to hear that and proud of that. And I think even now with this project, I think that's a little bit my connection to it. And then, of course, I read the script and I loved the part. And, I like the fact that I get to play somebody who gets to dress up in a cute costume and be smart. Be smart and cute. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
cute costume, important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Quintus would like to talk to you. In doing some research for this interview, I hope you don't mind me asking this. Are you the Quintus McDonald who is also a pro football player?
Yeah, I'm the same.
One and the same? Awesome.
One and the same.
I think you'll make a great Klingon then.
I'm excited to be an alien.
Yeah, there you go.
I get to be an alien, and I can have an outer body experience in my body.
There you go. Can you tell us?
I'm a master yogini kind of. So I mean, I've been doing like Bikram yoga my whole life. So I'd like to have an out of body experience while I'm shooting as well. We can both do that at the same time.
maybe you can meet in your out of body experiences and what.
To another level. Level acting. Actually leave your body.
Yeah, there you go. Quintus, can you tell us a little bit about the character that you will be playing in Star Trek Equinox?
What I know of the Klingon is that and I think in the last one there were good Klingons. And when I think back to the William Shatner Star Trek, the Klingons were like the evil force that they were always fighting against. But if my memory serves me correctly, in that last one, the 3D deal, when they went back to the captain's youth, when he was coming out of the academy and all of that, the Klingons weren't all bad, and I think a Klingon helped them in the end. So I'm excited to see. I've not had a chance to see a script. I don't know the Klingon language, but that's going to be an exciting challenge for me to learn to speak this alien language. It's all very exciting. So it's an open book for me, and I'm ready to embrace whatever it is that's brought my way with the character of the Klingon in Star Trek Equinox.
Now, will you be maybe you don't know this, but will you be in full Klingon makeup, or are you going to look more like a Klingon from TOS, the original series?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I'm actually growing dreadlocks now, and Eric saw a picture on Facebook, and he got really excited about the picture. So who knows? Maybe if they decide, the producers decide to do something funky with my face and leave my hair, if they decide to put me in full costume, whatever it is, I'm going to embrace it and roll with it.
Ms. Pickett, in doing some research for this interview, and you mentioned this, about your work with Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You have a very impressive IMDb resume, guest starring in some of the top shows of the last few decades. And when I saw that you played Ferris Bueller's mom in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I was tickled, because that's one of my favorite teen comedy movies of the 80s of all time.
Well, it's a cult. It has a message, It's true.
I mean, even now, if it's on TV, I'll stop and watch it, because it's still fantastic. I think it still holds up.
My kids are in their 20s and they still say, "Mom, Ferris is on," and we all go and watch it.
I can't tell you how many. I'm a teacher during the day, and I can't tell you how many times it comes up that the line Bueller. I mean, it still resonates in the society. Yeah. Go ahead.
It does. I was thinking, I don't know why, but I was thinking today about just posting on Facebook, even just that last line of Ferris's. You got to stop and look around once in a while, or you'll miss it.
Oh yeah,
because there's so much going on in the world and stuff. And one thing that's really cool about Star Trek is it lets you escape all of that. And I think it's important for that. Yeah. Honestly.
Well, I know there was talk a couple of years ago of a possible sequel. I don't know if that's still being considered, but I hope so. That would be cool.
When they did the 25th, we did a 25th reunion screening, and the producer was there, and several of the actors were there, and Tom Jacobson, who was the producer, and Jeffrey, who was the principal. Jeffrey had been in touch with John right before he passed away, and they had actually he was talking about a sequel, and he was going to set it. All I heard was he was going to set it in Hawaii. Really weird. Quite a departure from Chicago, where we did everything. But obviously it never got made. I even heard that someone was going to try and do it without him, but I just don't think it would work. It was his magic. He loved that generation of children, and he related. He was kind of a child man himself,
Well, I was a teenager when that movie came out, so it definitely resonated with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Everybody, I'm sorry to have to interrupt like this, but I do have to take off now. But there's just one more thing that I want to mention real quick before I do that.
Absolutely.
And Cindy, Samantha, I think at least you two may have heard about it, but we currently have in script development right now some Equinox Origin short films that we're going to be putting out soon to raise awareness of the project and hopefully garner even more support. So,
and where will we be able to see those when they're out?
They should be available to view online.
Okay. So if they go to the Star Trek Equinox page that we'll give at the end of the show here, they'll be able to find it.
That's right.
Very good. Well, thank you for joining us, Cameron. And sorry that we ran a little bit longer.
Sorry I had to take off early.
No problem at all.
You did a great job. It's a really great script.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
Pleasure
you.
talking with you, Cameron.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
Take care.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, Miss Pickett, did you know that when you did Ferris Bueller's Day Off, that it was going to be the hit that it ended up being?
No, because he had a string of, all of them were sort of wonderful, and it didn't. It wasn't a cult film right away. It's just the one that kind of, it was the one that rose to the top. It was the one that somehow endured time. So no, I remember when my Mr. Bueller and I got married. We met during that film, and we got married and had 2 kids, and we aren't married anymore. But when we went to the premiere, it was at the Chinese, and when the parade happens, the twist and shout, people stood up and started dancing in the aisles.
That's
and
awesome.
We thought, this is kind of special, But no, it just evolved over the years. I just think it's somehow just people related to that part of themselves, that you especially Cameron, and how some people are like that, and we need people like Ferris to sort of get us out of that place, So I don't know. It seemed to. I loved Breakfast Club too, but this is the one that became the cult film. Lucky for me, right?
Although Breakfast Club has its own cult following.
It does.
It does indeed.
It does indeed. More, I think those are the two that have the, that I loved Breakfast Club. I watch that whenever it comes out too.
Awesome.
It was good too.
7B.
Risky Business. That was one of my favorites.
That was cool too. That was special.
Well,
there was another movie that my mom almost did too. It was, oh gosh, I'm totally having a brain fart. But it was another one of those 80 movies where there was a girl named Mandy, and she takes her top off in the window. What was it with John Belushi? I don't know. It was years ago. What was this? Animal House.
Animal House.
Oh yeah.
That was a great one too.
Yeah, my dad.
It was a great time for film, actually.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. Much more for film than television. Although television, there's some good TV, but the movies are what stick out to me.
I was on a series called St. Elsewhere, which was with Denzel Washington.
Oh yeah, that was.
I was a doctor, and one of my patients was Ray Charles, and that was a pretty. I'm getting goosebumps right now. It's an awesome time, as an actor. It really was. It was just a really special. People that were making films weren't lawyers and corporate people. They were artists. They were directors, and they were it was different.
Yeah,
it was great.
Absolutely.
The movie I liked from the 80s was Wrath of Khan.
That's another great 80s movie too.
Yes, absolutely.
By the way, Animal House was in the 70s.
That's right.
Oh yeah, it was. So we'll put it in with the 80s. We like lumping up the 80s. No, just kidding.
Cindy, you've done so much in your career, but now you're doing something in the world of Star Trek. What's it like for you now to do something kind of totally different than what we've known you for?
Well, the at this point in my career, I get to pick and choose whatever I want to do. And there's something, I took astronomy in high school and college, and I have always been fascinated by all of that. I believe in life beyond and all of that. And I just kind of, it just intrigued me. And, but because, Brent and I are very good friends, and it has made, it was just something I wanted to be a part of. It's kind of it's not like a social club, but it's like a, I like what it has to say. I like what it talks about, and I like the magic of it, and I'm ready to be a part of something like that, And the character that I play is an admiral, which is, I've been all the great moms of the world, but she has the fate of Captain Ransom in her hands, and she's business as usual, and she's pro Starfleet, and she's a professional, no room for nonsense, but she has a vulnerable side too. She has a soft side which she doesn't show very often, but that's something we're going to work on writing in, so that there is more to her than just, military.
Right. Awesome.
Which makes it cool.
That does make it awesome. So Paris, let's move on to you here for a little bit. Looking at your IMDb page, you've already done so much work being a camera operator and director. Much of your work has been done in directing rock music videos. Can you tell some of our listeners some of the videos that you directed that our listeners might recognize?
Well, I guess the most popular one I ever directed was Onyx Slam, which was the longest running #1 video on MTV ever.
Awesome.
It was #1 for 4 months.
Wow.
Cool. And before that, it was #1 on MTV Raps for 5 months. So it was pretty much the biggest video of the year, and it won Best New Artist Video and all that kind of stuff. But I've done, 100 music videos.
Oh, wow.
Dad up. Oh!
Exactly.
Nice. So music videos to Star Trek Equinox. And tell me about this transition for you. How does this work for you? What made you say, you know what, Equinox, let me try this?
I mean, it's very easy. It's almost like you guys came into my world. I didn't come to yours because, like I said, I'm so steeped in the stories after reading, like I said, 400 novels, that I feel like it's so much a part of my life that being a part of this is very easy. And one of the things that Cameron was talking about the continuation of characters and one of the things I love about Star Trek is the continuation. There is no break. There's not a single story that contradicts another story. The timeline is always kept pristine. You could read one novel about a character and a character is brought in from another story and they do not contradict each other. Even after reading 400 stories, I've never heard a contradiction until these J.J. Abrams films came out. And I know they made the excuse that it was in an alternate universe and all that kind of stuff. But to me, I found it a little disturbing. The thing I love about Equinox is that it's really a throwback to the feel of the original series. And going back to those characters that are familiar, that we didn't know what happened to, and we get to see what happens to them, I think is a great idea. And I'm so thrilled to be a part of it.
So what Star Trek book are you currently reading?
Well, I'm not currently reading one, but the last one I finished was called Sarek, and it's about Spock's father, the diplomat, and it's a great book. I've read it 5 times.
Wow.
Well, if
my character will be called Sorak, which was as close as I could get to Sarek without just stealing his name.
If you're ever free to come to the East Coast sometime during the month of August, there's a sci-fi convention called Shore Leave, and they get a lot of Star Trek novel authors there. I mean, if you love the books, you would love this convention.
Well, I'm in Brooklyn, so that's not really a problem. And I've also noticed from reading a lot of the Star Trek novels, I'd say about half of them are New Yorkers.
Oh yeah, they are.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So I'll fit right in there. Not only that, because I'm a native New Yorker, but I don't think the transition between me being, behind the camera to being in front of the camera, it would probably be more of an issue if I wasn't so comfortable with where I think I'm going to be.
Yeah.
On the bridge of the bridge of a starship.
Yeah.
I should be on the Enterprise, though.
Right. We'll get JJ to write that into the next script for you.
Yeah, I'm going to have a talk with him because.
Paris, can you tell us a little bit about Sorak?
Well, I mean, he's a bridge crew member. I don't have a whole lot of lines. I think I have 5 lines in total, but I'm basically playing this almost the same kind of role, but without the depth that Spock has. I'm a science officer on the bridge.
Okay, cool.
Very good. Well, Miss Lockwood, is this the first time that you're going to have an opportunity to work with your father on a production?
I thought it would never happen. Yes. Yes, it is. I'm really excited about it. It's one of the most attractive things about the whole project for me on a personal level because, well, for obvious reasons. I mean, my dad's getting up there, and I just would love to do something fun and creative with him like this, and something we're both passionate about, which is acting. And we have a lot of fun together when we do voices and acting. I mean, ever since I was a kid, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to be an actor. So, it just makes perfect sense for me to feel extremely excited about working with him, almost more than anything, but probably just as excited as I am to work on a Star Trek project. I am as excited to work with my dad.
Yeah, no doubt. He's probably one of the best storytellers I've heard. He just weaves a good story.
Number 200. Which one did you like?
Yeah. Oh man, there's so many. Can you tell us just a little bit about your character in Equinox?
Well, I don't really want to give too much away, but she's. I fear if I say too much about her that she's actually I'm gonna give away most of the scenes that I get to do with my dad.
Okay.
So I don't want to say too much.
Okay.
We'll wait.
I mean, she's a smart girl. She's a doctor. She's went to med school, and that's really all I want to say. I don't want to say too much about her.
She's on board, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's on board.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah. But I mean, I think these little short films that we're going to shoot will get to focus really individually one character at a time, get to explore the characters a little more, and give the audience out there a nice tease for what's coming in the actual project. So I think that'll be a really nice thing for us to do.
Yeah. Is there and this is I don't know if any of you can answer this. This is a general question. Then we want to come back to you, Ms. Lockwood, in just a little bit. But we were talking about, do we know when there's an anticipated, when they would like to release Star Trek Equinox?
As a matter of fact, I can speak to that, Scott. The planned release date at this point is during the first week of October.
Okay.
For the final actual Star Trek Equinox, the night of time itself.
Oh, good. Very good. Just was checking in there.
Also, Scott, I'm sorry to also interrupt again, but I understand that Samantha has another appointment, and I did want to actually, if we could give her a couple of minutes, she actually produces a line of jewelry that we'd like to give her a chance to tell the fans about.
Yeah.
We would be delighted to, Miss Lockwood, we know that you're an actress in your own right, but please tell us about your jewelry making, tell us and our listeners how we can, check out your jewelry.
You guys are so sweet to be interested. Thank you. It's kind of a cool thing, I suppose. It's part of who I am, but I created this very unique line, which they're vases. So they're small things that, they're just small vessels that you add water to, and then you can put flowers in them. And they're pretty unique. I hope I get to wear one on my character on board the ship. We'll see. But it's a pretty unique thing. They're called floorings, and they're earrings, necklaces, hair pieces, all that hold water, and then orchids, daisies, roses, any kind of flower you want. So I have them on Instagram, I have them on Facebook, and I have a website where I have international shipping on my website. It's just fleurings.com. So thanks for asking. That's very nice of you to ask.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, I think the Admiral's is secretly a gardener, so you could give her one during the movie, okay?
We can bring back some foreign plant life, from some civilization, some crazy-looking orchid,
Right.
Right.
Good idea.
Why not?
Yeah. Well, we're about ready to wrap up the interview here at this point. Anyways, if people want to find out more about Star Trek Equinox and Out of Time, where can they do that?
Well, Scott, I can let you know that there is a Facebook page, and it will be like facebook.com/Star Trek Equinox. There's also a website where we have a blog which talks about the production, and that's at StarTrekEquinox.com. And in addition, at this point, we're running a GoFundMe campaign as a fundraiser to raise funds for the production, and that's GoFundMe.com/Star Trek Equinox fan film.
Right. And I believe when I was on your webpage, you have a link to that from your webpage as well.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah. And so I mean, fan films certainly are an endeavor of love, but they do cost money to produce. And so it's if Star Trek fans, you guys that are out there that are listening to this podcast now, if you want to support a good project and see another film get off the ground, this is a great way to help support them. Absolutely. Miles, anything else before we head out that you want to ask?
No, I'm excited about this project. I like a good Star Trek fan film. I think there's so many good ones, and just seeing what this one's about, I definitely want to see it when it comes out.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to hear all of you being on board with this. It was great to chat with all of you. Any final words from anyone?
We don't want to make anything cheesy, so we want to make something that looks really good. That's all I know. I mean, I for sure will do everything I can to help support the project to make it a really good piece of work, rather than just something that just some fans put together just for fun. We want to make it a little bit more artful, because I don't think my dad wants to come out of retirement for something that's going to be not amazing.
Yeah, no doubt.
No less than amazing. So we start with a great script, and now we just want to work forward from there. And I just think all the support we can get to make this a great project, because we already have a great cast, we have a great production crew, great production company behind us, and we just need more support from fans now. So it's great that everybody's listening and tuning in. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a great cast. John Savage is a wonderful actor as the lead, and Gary Lockwood, of course. And there's a lot of talent. I think the script is really good, and everyone. I just think it feels to me, which is why I got on board, like it's something that could be important. And Jason, I have to tell you, you make a great production manager. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
And Eric, of course, for putting this all together. And it feels good. I think if everyone gets behind this, I think it can be something that could really make it.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming on the Sci-Fi Diner tonight and chatting about Equinox. We can't wait to hear more about the future of this, and we'll continue. Miles always brings in updates about Star Trek, and he'll be keeping an eye on it and keep us updated as far as what's going on in your world.
Thank you so much for visiting the Sci-Fi Diner. We hope you enjoyed the food, the service, and the conversations. If you'd like to share your thoughts regarding what we've talked about, or tell us what you're watching or reading, flip open your communicators and contact us at 1-888-508-4343, or click the SpeakPipe link at sci-fi-dinerpodcast.com, or send an MP3 or typed email to sci-fi-dinerpodcast@gmail.com. You can also join the conversation on our Facebook fan page at facebook.com/sci-fi-diner. patreon.com/sci-fi diner. We'll share your thoughts on our listener feedback show. If you'd like to support the diner beyond the conversation, you can always throw some coins in the tip jar at sci-fi dinerpodcast.com.